Every day, a new name is added to the list of possible drivers for 2023. There are a lot more F1 drivers out there than there are seats, but no team seems ready to commit to any of them until they've had a lot of time to think about it. Before the Singapore Grand Prix, Alpine will have at least 4 different drivers run in a private test, as the team tries to decide which one it wants. Starting us off, a new Aussie contender puts their name up for the Alpine seat ahead of Singapore Grand Prix. In Monza, De Vries had a great 72 hours. After practicing for Aston Martin on Friday, he was called in by Williams on Saturday morning when Alex Albon got sick with appendicitis and couldn't finish the race weekend. De Vries beat his teammate Nicholas Latifi in qualifying, which put him in the running to replace him in 2023. On Sunday, he finished a strong 9th, which was a good sign. The former Formula 2 and Formula E champion was on the grid with another Dutch driver, Max Verstappen. When asked about the fact that the 4th row of the grid was made up of only Dutch drivers, race winner Verstappen said, "That's a bit unexpected, right? Last night, we made jokes about it. He's a great friend of mine, and I know him very well." When asked what he said to De Vries before the race, Verstappen said, "First, have fun. Don't worry too much about it. Don't think about it too much. I remember my first race. Everything happened so fast and it was scary. Don't think about that." And he did a great job with everything. During the race, Verstappen even got to see De Vries fighting for a better spot. He said, "I saw him battling in front of me when he was defending at the time 10th. It's not easy at all for Nick to jump in and give this performance. I really like what he did." In defense, he just kept his cool and didn't do anything wrong. To get points in your first race is a big deal. Hamilton, a 7-time world champion, found De Vries in the media pen while he was giving an interview. He congratulated the Dutch driver. De Vries drove for Mercedes on Friday practice at the Spanish Grand Prix in May. This season, he's been the team's backup driver, a role in which Hamilton has been very helpful. Wolff went on to heap praise on De Vries. Toto Wolff, the boss of Mercedes, said that Mercedes Formula E world champion and F1 reserve driver Nick De Vries did a great job in his first race at the Italian Grand Prix. After practicing for Aston Martin on Friday, De Vries was called up by Williams on Saturday morning when Alex Albon had to be taken to the hospital for an appendectomy. The Dutch driver qualified 13th, which moved him to 8th on the grid after he was penalized. He finished 9th to get his first points in his first race. It put him right in the middle of the driver market, with Williams wanting to give him Nicholas Latifi's seat and Alpine thinking about him as a possible driver. Wolff said Sunday night that he wasn't surprised by how well the 27-year-old did his job. He said, "He's just a good young man. He's fast, and he has shown that in the junior categories. He is also smart and works well with others. That's why he got what he deserved today. I don't think anyone else could have done a better job than he did. You're driving around in an Aston Martin with an aero rake, and then you're put in a different car at the last minute. You're doing a lot better than your teammate by quite a bit. You start in 8th place and end up in 9th. As a driver, Lauda would have taken his hat off. We think a lot of him, and I think Nick would be in F1. Even though De Vries won the Formula E World Championship for Mercedes, he's only a reserve driver for the team. In fact, the Dutchman said in Italy that he is managing himself as he tries to get a seat for 2023. Moving on to other F1 news, Mario Andretti insists that preparations are underway for Andretti Global F1 to be granted a place on the F1 grid. Mario Andretti says that his team is getting ready to join F1, even though some important people in F1 have told them not to. F1 champion Mario Andretti and his son Michael announced earlier this year that the Andretti team would join the F1 grid in 2024. But as the season has gone on, people like Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff and F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali have been skeptical about Andretti becoming the 11th F1 team. They do have some support from the existing F1 teams. Laurent Rossi, who runs both the McLaren team and the Alpine F1 team, has said he wants to see more competition. When asked about the opposition to his team's planned entry into F1, Andretti was adamant that they would get a spot on the 2024 grid. "We work on this project every single day with the goal of being on the grid in 2024, Andretti told Planet F1. "We're getting ready ready as if we'd been given the green light. So Michael is working on it, and we plan to do the same. We're not giving up at all. We take this project very seriously, and we're ready to put money into it. In all honesty, this response has been a huge disappointment so far. Formula One's latest Concord agreement required any new teams to pay an entry fee of $200 million. This was done to ensure the credibility of any new teams and to give the existing F1 teams a financial package to make up for the lower prize money. The $200 million pot would help existing teams in the short term, but it could hurt their prize money in the long run. When asked if he thought an Andretti team would make F1 better, he said that Andretti Global F1 would be a long-term project. Next, Russell sets Mercedes targets for 2022 season run-in. George Russell has said that coming in second in either of the championships isn't that important, even though he and Mercedes are close to those spots. Russell has been a consistent performer in his first season with Mercedes. Despite having trouble with Mercedes W13, he has won 7 podiums and 1 pole position in 2022. They kept the Brighton within 16 points of Charles Leclerc, who was in second place, with 6 races left in the season. When asked if he wanted to finish second in the Drivers' Championship, Russell said that he would rather win a single race than finish second in the championship. Russell told the press, "I don't think it means a huge amount, to be honest. No one can remember who comes in second place in the championship. If we could either win a race this year and finish outside of the top 3, or not win any races and come in second, I would choose winning a race." Mercedes has become one of the most consistent F1 teams, even though they have had problems with their performance in 2022. Their dependability, how rarely their drivers make mistakes, and how quickly they can get back up to speed have helped them win a lot of races. Helped by Ferrari's rough season, third-placed Mercedes are only 35 points behind Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship. Russell hopes to catch up to Ferrari in the last races of the year. Finally, Verstappen doesn't expect Monaco GP problem to strike in Singapore. Max Verstappen doesn't think that the weight problems that Red Bull had in Monaco earlier in the season will be a problem at the Singapore Grand Prix, which is the next race on the Formula One schedule. Some teams found it hard to meet the 798 kilogram minimum weight target because of the new rules for 2022, which included 18-inch wheels. Alfa Romeo was the only team to start the season without being overweight. Because cars were heavier, they were more likely to understeer, which Verstappen didn't like in his Red Bull. The world champion likes a sharp front end to turn the car. Because of all these things, his teammate Sergio Perez beat him in qualifying and racing in Monaco, so he came in third for the day. But as the RB18 has been improved, weight has been taken off. Verstappen has won the last 5 races and is on the verge of his second world title, which he can get at Marina Bay if he beats Charles Leclerc by 22 points or more. But he is sure that the problem that slowed him down in Monaco, the last track like Singapore, will not happen again. Verstappen told the press, "Monaco was just the wrong place for the car to be overweight, but I don't think it will be a problem in Singapore." With just 6 races left in Singapore, Verstappen leads the championship by 116 points. He has won 5 of the last 5 races. After the race at Marina Bay, there will be 138 points left in the season. This means that if the number 1 driver wins his 6th straight race, which would be his 12th of the season, Leclerc might finish 8th or higher to keep the championship going to the next race in Japan. Unfortunately, guys, that's all the time we had for today. For more F1 news, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Till next time, cheers.